Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. I am very excited for this episode. Here with me, I have Alexis Lee out of Atlanta, Georgia. Alexis, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Oh, no problem. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for
Definitely.
having me.
For sure. So first, can you just give us, I know you do a whole lot. Like I've been following you for a while. I know you do a lot within real estate. So could you tell the people who you are and what you do within real estate?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Alexis Lee. It's Alexis Lee Real Estate pretty much on all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, what else is there? Twitter. But I'm a jack of all trades. I really love real estate. It really genuinely is my passion. So I started out as an agent. I also have 16 rentals. I own land. I buy my daughter lots of land. I bought her a house last year. I have 3 Airbnbs. What else do I do? Oh, I flip. That's primarily what I do. So I flip. I am a super host. I am a landlord. So all aspects, I'm kind of, got my hand in it. I'm an agent. I take on clients. So, all around, I do most of it. So
Definitely.
yeah.
So love to hear about the beginning, early life. Like what was your childhood like and what did you see, or maybe what didn't you see that ultimately shaped your view of building wealth?
Yeah, so childhood was actually pretty normal in the suburbs. Grew up with my mom and dad. Um, Two totally different personalities. I'll say this. My mother is very risk adverse, right? She's not going to take any risks. She's definitely like, you go to your job, you put your money in your retirement, and then you retire and you enjoy, those last years of your life. That's her, right? Straight laced, straight, very risk averse. My father, on the other hand, is um, enterprising, entrepreneurial person. Can't really be boxed in. And I feel like I take away from both of them, leaning more towards my dad. I have always had like entrepreneurial spirit. But then I always like to tell people, look, I have a regular job too. And I've been doing both for the past pretty much 16 years. And I found a way to balance it. And I tell people all the time, you can do the same thing. My job has a lot of flexibility. It's a contracting job, so I'm work from home. I pretty much make my own hours, so it helps. But you can do both. So just starting young, I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Graduated from college, started working in corporate America, but then I opened up a hair store, and I had 3 hair stores with a business partner, 20 something employees in 3 states. So we had 3 actual locations, making buku tons of money. And I hated every minute of it. It was miserable. I was miserable.
Wow.
Didn't feel like I was operating in my purpose. Really didn't want to deal with customers, and I still don't. So that's why I don't take on projects for anybody else, because that ain't me. So learned a ton. I always tell people that was like my MBA on steroids. Like no one could pay me to go back to school. I learned so much in those 5 years of having those stores. And then I sold my shares to my business partner, and I was on vacation with my family, and I decided to started buying houses online on auction. So that's kind of backstory. No really fun childhood. I didn't do anything like super special. I went to Hampton University, the real HU, learned a lot there, made a ton of connections. And, that's how I got started.
Awesome. So one thing I want to touch on, you mentioned that you were really successful in the hair store. Things were going really well.
Yeah.
But in spite of all that, you were miserable and you didn't feel like you were operating in your purpose. Can you talk more about that time and the shift to, I guess going from that point to getting into real estate and getting into your purpose?
Yeah, definitely. So I went through a period, probably year 5, the beginning of year 5, I was in a deep seated depression, hated going to the store, really just couldn't do it anymore, and really just had to figure out what was it I was passionate about. how did I feel like I could help other people, which has always been a big part of me. I've always wanted to figure out more and more, what can I do that I feel like is going to have an impact on people long term. And that speaks to how we want our legacy to be. And I just didn't want mine to be in the hair store. Nothing wrong with it. It's a good way to learn business, you know. I learned so much, and I felt like that was the purpose of that period of time. And it helped me be a better businesswoman. It helped me understand marketing, which when you start branding yourself is such a big part of it. And so I learned a ton. And so I appreciate that time. It just wasn't my purpose, and I felt it in my spirit. And I made a very, literally, 1 week, I was from ownership to sold shares, really like banged it out with the lawyer and got everything done. And I was done in 1 week. And so, and a lot of people were shocked, like, what are you doing? Like, are you crazy? Like, we literally were bringing in over $1 million a year, you know, doing really good, but just really, really miserable. So, you know, I found the way out. I took my money and I you know, went on, and, you know, everything happens exactly how it's supposed to. Real estate can be so tough at times. It really can. It can be a lot, but it feels purposeful. And so it's a different kind of tired when I go to sleep at night. You know, I'm tired because I was doing something I really wanted to do. And, you know, I'm still tired now. I'm still tired, but it's a different kind of tired, if that makes sense. So. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So you mentioned that you first started just buying homes online and through auctions. What inspired you to go that route when you first got into it?
I'll say this. Okay, so that's where I really first started my whole flipping. But I started in the recession in 2007. I bought a townhouse right before the market crashed, right? Then I realized, look at all these cheap houses. So I rented out my townhouse. I bought another house on auction, like in-person auction. And this is when people were buying, like sitting there buying up hundreds of houses. And me, I didn't quite grasp it then. I wasn't prepared for that then, but I did buy one house. I moved in it for 2 years. I then rented it out, bought another house, moved in it for 2 years. So I had, before I even started flipping, 3 properties, because I was just like, I never stayed in one place. I would just buy a house, use FHA, buy it with 3.5%, stay in it for a couple years, and then rent it out and buy another one with my next FHA loan. And I acquired quite a bit of properties that I still own today as rentals doing that. But then when I said, you know, I think I really want to get into flipping, I was on a cruise ship, literally bidding on a house that I had never seen. The craziest thing, I would never advise anybody to do that, but I did. We won. Right. We went in and did a quick 3-week cosmetic reno. I put it back on the market because I did have my real estate license. I wasn't doing anything with it, but I had my license. We put it on the market. I got a full cash offer the same day. We closed 12 days later. And I made $18,000, and I said, whoa, this is what I'm getting ready to do. And from then on, it's been pretty much, that was 2016, it's been nonstop since then. So yeah, wow. Learned a lot, lost a ton of money, a ton. I tell people, because people think, oh, you know, I don't want to pay $1,000 for a class, or I don't want to pay for this education. I lost a ton of money. I learned my education was losing my own money. So lost a ton of money, now able to make money, but it took that time. And I've been doing it for 5 years now. You know, and it's never still, I would never say it's smooth sailing. It's just, I'm not on the same seas. I'm on some other different seas now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you mentioned you started I guess a bit earlier with FHA, and you kind of just kept doing the FHA loan again. Something that people talk about, something that people I guess sometimes have some confusion about. So can you explain that strategy and why you decided to do it? And the reason I'm asking you that is because a lot of people are like, all right, I got the house, like I'm gonna stay here forever, but they don't always think about the fact that well, you can actually finesse this program repeatedly. So can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a mindset shift is what I realized. I never subscribed to when I purchased homes, it being my forever home. Like this is just it. I'm never leaving here. This is my dream home. I always looked at it as this is an investment and I want to get my money out of this investment. So I always bought houses that I could do a little bit too and gain equity in them while I was staying in there. I might put down new floors. I do some paint, I might do the bathrooms. And then next thing you know, I'm renting it out and I got $60,000-$70,000 in equity, but I purchased it with my FHA loan because FHA is going to give you the benefit of putting only 3.5% down. You can't do that buying an investment property. You're going to have to come in with 20%. And so I always subscribe to the fact that this is an investment property that I plan to live in temporarily so that I can utilize my FHA loan, put as little money down as possible because I wasn't like swimming in money when I first started that. I was working a corporate job, but I was in my 20s and, savings wasn't a huge priority to me. It was going to brunch and going to the club and going to Miami and Cancun. And that was what was important.
Yeah.
So, for me to stack up 10,000, that was good. Like, oh, I got 10,000 in savings. Let me go buy another property and live in it. And that was a good model for me at that point in time. Now I know, much better. But it's a great way to get in. I tell everybody in my classes, if I had to start all over, you could not pay me not to house hack. I would definitely house hack. The first thing I would be trying to do is find a multi-unit property, live in one unit, have someone living in another unit, and that unit paying the mortgage while I'm stacking up enough money to, guess what, move out of that thing and go do it again. And I would definitely do that. And I tell anybody just starting out, utilize your FHA and try to find a multi-unit property. Now here in Atlanta and some other cities, everybody's like, well, there's not any multi-units I would want to live in. I got to be safe. You got to change your mindset and think about finding a house with a finished basement with a separate entry. Now it opens yourself up to a lot more properties. And you need to rough it out and stop trying to be like cute and all that and go live in that basement for a year, and now you got one investment property, you move on to something else, a little nicer because now you done stacked up some money so you get a nicer house and live in that little bit nicer basement. And go on and do it. Especially, I tell people, if you're single, you don't have any kids, this should be your plan to acquire properties and build wealth. It's such an easy way to do it. Easy, simple way. So
Definitely. That's the game right there. So where did things transition thereafter? So after the first couple properties, like what changed? How did things continue to progress?
Yeah, I got smarter, right? It's, I tell people, I believe in education for the foundation purposes, but you got to get out there and kind of just learn the lessons and learn the game. If you're not playing, it's good to watch it on TV, right? Because you can learn some stuff watching it. You learn the fundamentals. Okay, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you do. You don't really understand the depth of it until you really get in the game, right? You got to get off that bench and start playing. And when I really did that and really started understanding strategy and taking it very seriously, things shifted and things progressed. And then you do one property, you do two, you get a little more money. Then you do a third one, and hopefully you get a little more money. Sometimes you might lose a little money. I've done that. But you get a little more money, and then that opens you up to more lines of credit. I have more investors wanting to give me money, and then I start thinking a little more strategic. Okay, I got my feet wet. I understand what's going on. Now let me get strategic about how I actually build my portfolio and build wealth. In the last 2 years, that's what I've done, even during COVID, and it's kind of just took off. It's just realistic. It really was just my mindset saying, here's what I plan to do. Here's how I'm going to execute it, and I'm going to work hard and do it.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I guess as far as your strategy to acquire the properties, what are some strategies that you, I guess, were exposed to and eventually ended up putting into practice after you did FHA starting off?
Yeah, I really feel like it's important for people to realize that you have to utilize other people's money. Best thing ever. When I first started off, I was like, I'm not gonna owe nobody nothing. Use my own money. Ain't nobody gonna say I owe them nothing. Now I'm like, how much do I owe you? Give me all your coins, okay? I'm gonna flip them and make you some more interest. And in doing that, I'm gonna make you money. I tell her, I'm a sure thing. I'm pretty much a sure thing. You give me your money, I'm gonna turn it back to you right on time with your interest. Pretty much, I'm gonna make you money. Um, and in return, I'm gonna utilize your money, keeping mine in the bank while I'm able to make money off of it. And that just opened me up to being able to do multiple properties at a time. Because when I was utilizing my own money, it was like, here I am, I'm gonna do this one, then I'm gonna finish, then I'm gonna buy something else. Now I always have 2 and 3 properties in the pipeline. So I might be starting one, in the middle one, finishing one up, and 2 sitting on the bench. So I'm constantly continuously working by being able to utilize other people's money. And then once you get a lot of properties under your belt, or a lot of properties, then you have these larger companies saying, let me give you 5 million. You do what you need to do, make sure you pay us our interest, And so that just opens you up to being able to expand your business. Is it good to go one by one when you're first starting? Yeah, because you need that experience. It's kind of like options trading. You don't just jump out there and make all these trades and you don't know what you're doing, because you're going to lose your money. Same thing with real estate. Do one, try to study it, learn it, and then build your portfolio to be able to expand and do more. Build your team, get a steady group of subs going. And then when you get that, things kind of just start moving for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can you talk to us a bit more about your introduction to flipping, and I guess different things you've
Yeah.
gone through within that?
Yeah, flipping is still my bread and butter. Um, I tell people I love flipping because it brings in quite a bit of liquid cash, right? Large sums of liquid cash. But I also love rentals, and I think everyone should have a rental portfolio. Even if you don't want to deal, people say, I don't like dealing with people and I don't want to do that. Then get you a property manager and you got to talk to nobody. You're just going to get them 10%. But that is what sustains you. When you're waiting on that flip income to come in, I know I still got, listen, on the my people don't pay on time, but somewhere between the 5th and the 10th, I'm gonna get some rent checks. Somewhere in between there. But flipping, it was just it kind of came natural to me. I bought the first property on auction. I still buy properties on auction. Love auction. I like bidding online. I really don't like going to in-person ones. It just makes it a lot easier. I don't feel as intimidated. I feel like, they don't know me. They don't know me. I'm just bidding. So I love still bidding online. And I started off just doing cosmetic renovations. Best thing ever. I'm back to just doing cosmetics during COVID. Full renos and all that. It's cute, but there's so many unexpected unknowns, and you got to kind of build up your tolerance for that, because it's a lot to stomach when you open up a wall and you realize, oh, this is about to be $10,000 more than I expected. So you had to kind of build up your tolerance to that. But yeah, I started off doing cosmetic renovations. Then I moved into more full renovations. I did that for a while. I started doing full renovations and turning them into Airbnbs. And so that's how I acquired my 3 Airbnbs. And then now COVID hit and I'm pretty much back to doing cosmetic renos because I can move those a lot quicker. The market is kind of all over the place right now. It's going up, but we don't never know when it's going to come down. And to mitigate my risk, I started doing cosmetic renovations and making sure I got good exit strategies out of all of my properties. At any of them that I'm doing right now, if anything happens and I could not sell them with the market, I'm already prepared to sit on them and hold them and rent them out. And I know I will still make a good cash flow on all those properties. So as I go on and I say, you know what, I'm going to flip, that's great. But I always have to make sure I have the proper exit strategies for anything that I do. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How do you source your deals? Do you get off market leads? Do you do MLS? Do you do a combination of the two?
Don't do MLS most of the time. I'll say 75% of my leads come from wholesalers. The other 25 is from either direct to seller. Somebody's always calling me like, my mama, cousin, and them, somebody's selling the house. Okay. And I'm always like, where? I'm on my way. Where they at? Tell me where it's at. I'm going there because that's the best deals you can get. Or auction.com. So the combination of those three is you typically, I very rarely get houses off the MLS, very rarely.
Got you. So let's say a property comes to your table. Do you typically look at, all right, I can flip it, or if I hold it, I can get this much? Like, do you typically go through some type of analysis when you receive a lead?
Yeah, of course. I got to go see the property. I need to immediately find out how much the repair costs are and what are the comps in that area. And that's pretty much going to tell me if it's going to be a yes or a no on that property. So I need to know what I can sell it for when I'm done with it, or what I can rent it for, and how much is it going to cost me to get to that point. And that's pretty much it. I need to see the property. I need to walk it, and I got to be able to know my numbers of what it's probably going to cost me to do the renovation on it and what I can get for it. And from there, I'll know if it's something I can move on or not move on. Yeah.
For sure. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
All comes down to the numbers.
Yeah. Definitely. It's interesting, because you mentioned in the beginning, you started with, FHA and kind of going one by one, and then getting into, flipping, doing rehabs. What were some of the challenge? Because, when people think of rehabs, it intimidates people, right? How am I supposed to rehab a house? Like, how am I supposed to manage contractors and all this stuff? What was it like for you early on, just once getting into kind of bigger rehabs? How did you get to the point today where, it's something you become very good at?
Yeah, when I first started, I pretty much was hiring contractors, watching them, trying to learn from them, realizing that some of them weren't that great. And kind of just immersing myself in it. I've never been hands off on any of my projects, and that's really where I feel like I learned from, is kind of being there, seeing what people are doing, being able to kind of understand the basics of home building, because that's really what it is. You got to understand home building and learning the codes, learning inspections, what inspectors look for, just really trying to learn as much knowledge, make me as knowledgeable as possible, so that, when you start learning stuff, people can't take advantage of you as much, right? Because they know that So if somebody tells me something's going to cost 3 times of what I know it should cost, and I'm able to calculate square footage times roofing costs or framing costs, it's not as hard for me to call BS on it. And then when you start learning stuff, it kind of fuels you, because now you're like, oh, I know this. It's something else to help equip you with being successful. The more I started actually learning about building and renovation, the better I got at calculating my numbers. And then that made me a better negotiator for my deals, because I knew exactly how much it was going to cost me. So now you can't try to sell me something for $10,000 more because I don't know my costs. So it kind of just helps prune you through the whole process of being, an investor.
That makes sense. Would you advise someone who, I guess, is early on in real estate, or, wants to get into rehab, would you advise them, trying to shadow someone, or if they're getting stuff done in their house, to just be as involved as possible, just to kind of soak up some of those things?
I tell people, as much experience as you can get, you should try to get it, right? Now, here's the caveat to that, right? All relationships have to be somewhat balanced. There has to be some kind of give and take, right? I don't take on a ton of mentees, because I feel like for me to take on somebody as a mentee, they definitely have to show me that they're willing to give as well. Each relationship has to be reciprocal. Somebody can't just hit me up on Instagram and be like, I'm really looking for a mentor and I'll pay you, because I just don't do that. I don't charge anybody that I mentor. Never do, right? I never charge anybody that I mentor, but the relationship just has to be reciprocal. And so, that's just how I've always been. You're going to make some flyers. You're going to do something while we walking through this. You're going to make some calls for me. You're going to price some material. You're going to do something.
I like that.
So,
I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. I feel like you can find organic relationships. Those always work better than you paying somebody for a mentorship. Just really, if you're serious about being successful in it, right? You're very serious. And education is different than a mentorship, right? You pay for education. You want to take somebody's course. You want to take somebody's class. You want to learn quickly. You pay for that. Mentorship is different. This is somebody you're building a relationship with to continuously help you through your journey. And I feel like those just have to be a lot more organic. And I think people can build those, but they have to come in not necessarily asking for something at first. Just really be sincere about it and trying to find somebody that genuinely wants to help you be successful. And I think it's possible. I know I've gotten all my mentors that way. I went in offering them something, and the relationships just kind of built that way. Like, I see you don't have that large of a following on Instagram. Let's go on live together. Let's sit down. Let's do something together. Let's make some content, so then I can talk to you and figure out what you got going on. And all of my mentor relationships kind of just built that way. Or I would see them at events, and just have conversations with them, tell them what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to build. It's offer to help them. Say, whatever you need, let me know how I can help you, and it makes it a lot easier.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What is your favorite flip that you've done? Like your favorite flip deal that you've done? That
Anyone
comes to
that's
mind.
finished?
Or I guess one that maybe is memorable for some reason, or it turned out better than you thought or something.
So I'll say this: every time I'm doing like major flips, right? Like full gut renos. By the last month, I'm so ready to be done with the project because my attention span is short. So I go in like super excited, and then by the last month, that thing that probably drained me, I'm ready to get rid of it. My favorite ones are probably my Airbnbs, just because I still have those properties. They're fully renovated, and everyone seems to love them. They come and stay, and everybody just loves how they're decorated and finished. And so probably my Airbnbs. I love those the most, probably.
For sure. How was Airbnb for you during COVID? Did you see any dip at all? If you did, is it kind of picking up a bit now?
April was rough. April was really rough. I went from $8,500 in bookings to like $800 in bookings.
Wow.
So in the matter of 2 weeks, them cancellations was rolling in here. They was just rolling. Okay. But, we got a short span of how long we could be locked in the house. So by May, I was probably at 50%. June, we were back rocking and rolling. I was at like 95%. I've been at 95% since then. So June, July, August were really good. September is pretty much, I got one house already 100% booked, which is a great thing. And the other one is about 87% booked. So we're doing good. It'll probably be booked out the rest of the month. And so, I can't complain. It was a rough month, but this is the key. And this is what I tell people. When it comes to long-term rentals or short-term rentals, right? You have got to have savings. You got to save. You cannot trick off all of your profit. You have to put money away for these rainy days. That's how real estate is. And we got to be prepared for that. I have maintenance stuff that comes up at all my properties. Every week there's a maintenance. I just fixed a water line at a property. Another one needed a refrigerator this week. That together was $1,200. You think any of my tenants are waiting for me to come fix that, waiting on me to get rent in to fix that water line and get them a new refrigerator? No. So you got to have the cushion there. So I tell people, anytime you're getting into long-term or short-term rental, you should be putting money away for vacancies and maintenance. And so, although I was upset about May and April, I was prepared for it. So guess what? I still went to sleep pretty good. I didn't lose no sleep over it. It just was what it was. And I tried to soak in that time being home with my family. And, you know, we made it through. And that's how real estate is. Mm-hmm.
For sure. And I really love that you mentioned being prepared, having reserves, because, you know, when COVID first hit, the first thing anybody in real estate said, oh, those people in Airbnb, they're going to be suffering. Those people in Airbnb, you know, but it's like, you just solved the question. You just answered the question. Those who are prepared can last through the storm. And it's as simple as that.
Yep. You can weather the storm. And so it was a lot of people that weren't prepared, and they were trying to dump them things out. They were trying to get long-term tenants in those things as quick as they could. Yeah. And, you know, I was good. I knew I was prepared to ride it out. I was like, I'll cut this cable off, and I'll turn all these, every light, everything will be, we'll cut that water on down and turn it off. I was prepared to ride it out for at least 7-8 months. Mm-hmm. And I have mortgages on both of those. So I was prepared. I had the money to ride that out at least for 8 months, solid 8 months. I could probably went longer, but solid 8 months with zero income. I was prepared to carry both of those, all the properties. So.
For sure. So speaking of family, we spoke a little bit off camera. You mentioned that you spoke about your daughter. So can you talk to us more about? You just lit up. Can you talk to us more about her and how involved she is, and just what you're doing for her through real estate?
Yeah, she's a mess. She's I thought she might run down here at some point because we were supposed to be starting to do some study for a math quiz, but she's trying to stay away. You know, everything I tell people, you know, everything I do is pretty much for her. This is her, my legacy for her. And I'm building this to be able to pass it down to her. And, you know, I'm not building all of this up for her to screw it up. Just to be honest. You ain't getting ready to screw up what I did. And I got processes. I go, look, my will, my estate is so tight. That thing's so tight. She ain't getting ready. You're not getting ready to mess all of this up. But, you know, I want her to be able to have her own properties and be able to have things and be able to invest. And I think it's so important, you know, and I invest for her through real estate, through the stock market, kind of just, I don't want her to have to start from the bottom of where I started. Even though I had a great support system, I had my family, they have financially helped me move forward. You know, I just wanted her to be able to be on a different level when she decides to do whatever she does. You know, she knows that she has real estate and that she can build it. And a part of that is making her, she doesn't care as much now. Now she kind of likes to go around, but look, I was like, you got to come, you know, you gonna have to see this grind. It ain't gonna just be, you know, you reaping the benefits of it. Come on and get in this car. We're going to Home Depot. You're gonna help me figure out how to get this wood back to the job site, you know, stuff like that. I have her looking up properties and she enjoys all of that stuff now. And so kind of just planting those seeds that it is hard work. It's not just given to you. And so this is not something that just makes money. It's something that's built. And, you know, I think that's important, very important for them.
For sure. And how old is she?
Yeah. 10.
10. Okay. That's yeah. So dope. That's so dope. It's interesting.
I can't wait till she gets older because I'm going to make her, I'm like, you're going to be managing these Airbnbs. I just can't wait.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And you're also building your own house now, right?
Yeah, I am.
How's that going?
You know, it turned into a renovation to now it's new construction, pretty much. We're doing new construction on existing slab. And not even all of that on existing crawl space, but only half of the crawl space. It's a lot. But you know what? I'm documenting it. My dad is helping me. I'm doing it myself. And so I'm going to make it through it. And it's going to be what I want. And I had to kind of take the pressure off of myself yesterday because I was a little frustrated because we had to take a step back. When you start opening stuff up, you just start seeing stuff that's wrong. And some of the pillars for the footers for the crawl space pillars weren't right. So we ended up, I mean, really, there's no house there anymore. Wow. So, you know, we're at step one. getting it together. But, you know, I'm excited. It's going to be finished when it's supposed to be done, and I'm going to love it, and I'm excited about it. And I don't know if it's my forever home, but it's probably going to be for a little while. But I got a good deal on it. I'm on 3 acres of land. I ended up getting it for like $70,000.
Wow.
Just having the right connection off market. A neighbor of my parents was donating it to charity, and the charity didn't want it. And so I was able to get it from them, and it worked out great. So.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that it was a renovation and then became a new construction. Can you talk us through that process and what, I guess for our listeners who maybe they're not, you know, the ground up is like new for a lot of people, right? So how was that process? How did that all work?
Well, I got a 203K loan for the property. I was always originally planning to build a second level onto the home. So that was always the goal. As we got into it, here's me. I'm like, these ceilings are too low. I need 10-foot ceilings now. So that made us have to demo even more. And as that started to happen, was able to uncover that there were some other things wrong with the property that needed to be corrected. You know, and I'm just the type of person, not even that it's my home, but I'm doing it, and anything project I do, I got to do it right. So it just has to be corrected. So now it's kind of like the crawl space is still there. We're making repairs to it, and then we're going to frame up the whole house. And so it should be framed in probably by the end of this month. So, you know, a little bit of a delay, but I'm not on a time level because it's my house. And so no time frame. So it just gets done when it gets done, and I'm going to keep moving forward. But it's fun. I tell anybody, though, you had never done this before, you need to get a general contractor. You got to have somebody with some kind of experience. Because a lot of stuff that I'm doing with framing work is kind of new to me because I don't do a lot of new builds.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I've learned so much about how to add on this second level and trusses and all of that stuff that I just didn't know. So I tell people, you know, you need to consult a contractor if you don't know how to do this. So your house don't be falling down.
Definitely. No, you don't want that. What would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned as a landlord? Do you currently self-manage your long-term rentals?
I do, because guess what? I'm cheap and I need every last one of my coins. I tell everybody, I need all my money. I manage my own properties. I manage my own Airbnbs. I do have an assistant that helps. So, you know, at some point you got to start building your team out. And so I do have an assistant who's really, really good, and he does help with the property management. But for the most, you know, it's all in-house. So it's good, you know. I've been able to get pretty much, I got only one tenant that is not on my app. I have an app for tenants that I use. It makes it a lot easier. We renew leases on there. They do maintenance requests on there. They submit their rent payment on there. They can see their lease. They can see all the terms of it. Everything is on this one site. And so it makes it easier. It's not a lot of questions to ask, you know, pay it every month. You see it's there. Automatically adds late fee. So I don't have to talk to you about it. You know, it's late and here's the fee that's added on. Other than that, you know, works out pretty good.
For sure. What app do you use for property management?
Tenant Cloud.
Tenant Cloud, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like it pretty good. It's okay. It's pretty good.
Definitely.
That's $7 a month I can pay.
Oh wow, that's a steal.
I know. You get it like $7 a month for like 50. Yeah,
that's pretty solid.
up to 50. So not bad.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
So it's not very often that we see women in this space, especially women who do like the full suite. You know, you do rentals, you do flips, you do rehabs of all kinds. Now you're building your own house. And so I think this is a great encouragement to everyone, but especially women, especially Black women at that. So what words of encouragement would you give to a Black woman who aspires to do some of the things that you've been able to do?
Words of encouragement. I don't really know, but I'll tell you this, right? And that's a reason why I really am out there pretty much. Because like for a while, I wasn't on social media. I didn't care about it. I wasn't teaching any classes until I realized how important representation is, right? So it's probably a lot more females out here doing it. They just kind of real low key. You don't see them. I have a ton of friends that's flipping like crazy. You just don't see them. And I tell them, people need to see us to know, this is something that is obtainable for them. It's not rocket science. It's really not. Once you understand that a lot of it comes down to formulas and being able to assess properties and situations, this is something that anyone and everyone can be successful in. What does it take? It takes some discipline. It's going to take some sacrifice. But you can be successful if this is really what you want to do. And there's so many different avenues in real estate. Pick which one you really want to do. I tell people just pick one and start on that path and really go for it. Just pick one. You ain't got to try to do everything. I didn't do everything all at first. I added in bit by bit. Pick one thing, start there, master that, and then go on to make a right turn or a left turn onto another road. But you really can. I tell people, take 90 days, get heads down, get you a plan together, fix your credit if it's not right, decrease your expenses if they're too high, and really understand what your plan is and start working your plan. And you will see in the next 12 to 24 months, you can go from 0 properties to as many as you really want to. I don't like to put a limit on it because I done seen people just shoot through the roof and get a ton of doors. You really can do it. It's not rocket science. I mean, I think sometimes women feel intimidated by this industry. But once you start to really learn it, no one can stop you from doing anything. Really, they can't. Yeah. I'm not letting anybody put any labels on me. They can't tell me that I can't do anything in here. I want to get my general contractor's license. I want to build houses. I know I can do all of that. These people are not rocket scientists out here doing it. So
that's a
you
fact.
can do it, ladies.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Can you talk to us about?
And not even ladies.
Yeah,
I'll say this: minorities too. We sit here and think that we can only reach a certain level because of our past situations or things that we've been through, or things are set up for us to fail. We have to get so far past that and realize there is a network of people out here that are doing it, that look just like you, and that you can do the same thing too. And, really tap into that. There's so many people out here teaching. And I think that's why when you asked me to do this podcast, of course I want to do it, right? 1, I want to support you. And 2, we have to show people that all of these avenues, anyone you want to pick in, there are people just like me and you, look just like me and you out here being successful at it, genuinely successful, not Instagram successful, but actually doing it and making a difference. So
I love it.
That's my little rant.
I love it. I'm here for it. Can you talk to us about like the different resources? I know you do classes and different things and whole lot. Can you just explain to the listeners what they can tap into with you?
Yeah, sure. So I do one-on-one sessions. That's about as close to mentoring as you're going to get. I'm going to be able to give you 1 hour. I ain't going to be able to do too much more. I do one-on-one sessions. I also do on-site rehab classes. I just did one last month. Probably going to do one towards the end of October. It's getting a little cold, so I kind of stopped and shut down for the end of the year. I do virtual classes, and those are so close to being online. They'll be online this month, and you'll be able to just go to my website, and you can see all of my past virtual classes, and I think they're like $20. It's 2 hours, you get all the knowledge that we got. On-site rehab classes, one-on-one sessions. I am building a network for not for Black females, all females on Facebook. It's going to be a Facebook group. We're going to be learning about real estate, stocks, how to set up your business, establishing your LLCs, marketing, taxes. I got this big network of people. We're going to be doing teaching once a week on different subject matters, and it's going to be a paid Facebook group, but it's going to be cheap as heck. It's like $10. I'm doing it at $10 a month. So anybody can get on it and just really try to tap into all of this knowledge that is out there. So all of that'll be up. If it ain't up now, it'll be up next month. But the one-on-one sessions and classes are there. So
Love it, love it. And what does the future look like? What do you want to get into? Where do you see your real estate endeavors and just overall growing towards in the future?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to figure out my life. I really have, right? No, I don't know. Lots of things and so many things in the work, you know. I just try to lead where purpose takes me, honestly. I love real estate. It's definitely my passion. I don't know if it's my purpose right now, purpose or forever purpose. We'll see in the next couple years. I got a lot of things in the work, a lot of life changes happening. But yeah, I will always be an investor in real estate, stocks. You know, I plan on, if I had to say the next 12 months, definitely have more rental properties, continue doing more flips. Yeah, keep moving forward, keep teaching other people. So I don't plan to stop anytime soon.
For sure, for sure. Is there anything else you want to leave with our listeners in addition to how they can reach you?
Yeah, so okay, you can follow me on all platforms. It's Alexis Lee Real Estate, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My website is alexisleerealestate.com. So look, super consistent. You can't mess that up, right? Everything Alexis Lee Real Estate. So you can find me.
For sure, for sure. Anything else you want to share or leave with us?
No, but I appreciate you having me. This has
Oh
been
yeah.
great. I've enjoyed it. And keep doing what you're doing because I think it's very beneficial. I did a little research. Said, let me see what's going on before I say yes. And I saw a lot of my friends on there. I was like, oh, I saw mobile home leads, and I was like, yeah, that's like my little bro and little sis, and they doing big things too. So I was like, yeah, this is great. I'm excited for it, and I wish you so much success, so much success.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I really
No
appreciate you
problem.
coming on. Yeah, I mean, it's been an inspiration, you know, just thinking about your journey, just starting with, you know, the hair business, being very successful, not really into it,
Yeah.
selling your shares and just growing through your real estate career to where it is now. I mean, the best is yet to come for sure.
Oh yeah, I believe that truly, and I receive that. It is, you know, I'm not putting any. When people say, "Well, what are you planning on doing?" And I try not to really plan too heavy. Yeah, I have goals, you know, but you know, wherever it's supposed to be is where it's supposed to be. And I lead with purpose. So wherever my purpose and my journey goes, I'm excited to follow it. So
Definitely, for sure, for sure.
yeah,
Thank you so much, Alexis.
no problem. All
Awesome.
righty.
Awesome. And everyone, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. Look forward to hearing from you all soon.